Hey everybody, good evening from me because it's evening here where we are, and welcome to episode 7 of the Get Equipped podcast. We are the podcast where we get equipped with, I guess, different topics every day. I don't know. I've never written a slogan for this show.
We don't have one.
We don't need no stinking slogan. So, as always, I am joined by Cassidy. Cass, how are you doing this evening?
All right, actually, not as tired as usual.
That's good. Did you get another nap in today?
Nope.
Okay, well, we're just rocking it with, I don't know, caffeine drinks, I guess? Something like that.
No, the opposite. I'm actually drinking beer.
Oh, fantastic. I got water. Not quite as exciting. And hey, for the first time ever, we are actually joined by a special guest.
Woo!
Daryl, how you doing, man?
Hey, y'all. How's it going?
We're actually really happy to have you on the show. How does it feel to be the most famous person we've ever had on the show?
That's a little sad. I'm not gonna lie. You'll work your way out from me, I can assure you.
Okay,
but,
cool.
No, thanks for having me on. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah. So we've actually got a really fun topic tonight. One that I saw that Girlfriend Reviews literally just uploaded today. I saw as I pulled in my house. I'm just looking at my YouTube subscriptions, and I see that they just uploaded a video, the exact same thing that we're talking about. And that's gonna be video game movies. I'm not angry at all about that, I promise.
Yeah, she's not the first person to talk about this.
No, we are the only ones who are allowed to talk about it.
But
are you saying
I'm not original? Because I can just leave now.
That's fine. I guess you'll do. So, video game movies they really kind of took off in the 90s, really kicking off with Super Mario Brothers. But you've had some stuff beforehand that are like video game centric, not necessarily about video games or like based around them, so to say, but like Super Mario Brothers I think was the first one that really kicked off the trend, and it's not a good trend either. Almost none of these movies are what I would consider good.
There are a couple.
There's a couple, but well, first off, we'll start with Daryl real quick. Daryl, what's like? This is just kind of a broad question. Even if we're all kind of agreements that they're all not really good, what's your favorite video game movie?
Oh man, you're already gonna jump into this one?
I am.
Geez, and I will say the overall quality of video game movies has probably gotten better as the years have gone on. So if you're gonna ask me that, like, I'm probably gonna bias it towards more recent movies. Probably my favorite overall would be in the realm of Wreck-It Ralph. I know it's a kiddie movie, but I don't care. It's kind of amazing. So probably that. And if I'm going really old, probably like around the time of like Last Starfighter is way up there.
Oh, wow.
Kind of hilariously. I don't know why.
Oh yeah, that's Wreck-It Ralph's a good one. Yeah, I actually like. I do like Wreck-It Ralph a lot, but we'll talk about that a little bit more later, I'm sure. Cass, what's your favorite?
I'm gonna cheat and say the Street Fighter 2 OVA.
That is slightly cheating, but that's fine because that is a good one.
If that's cheating, I'm just gonna say Street Fighter.
Oh,
of
thank
course.
you so much.
It's so fun.
It is. That is a really fun one.
I actually recently rewatched that one, and it holds up as being incomprehensible and stupid, and I love it. Like Jean-Claude Van Damme playing Guile, where he's supposed to be an American.
It's a perfect casting. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, that I didn't say anything negative.
Yep, absolutely. It's all. I love it. I haven't seen that movie in years, probably since like the mid 2000s. It's hard to top that. That movie is just absolutely golden.
It holds up for the hilarity.
Yeah. Oh man. So, I haven't even really put a whole lot of thought to what my favorite would be. If I had to pick a favorite, it probably would lean something to like Wreck-It Ralph, kind of along with what Daryl was saying, just because it's kind of fun to see all these characters like interacting and just, in kind of fun ways. Like the villain therapy group session was just great. And the fact that they brought over like a lot of the original voice actors, like Roger Craig Smith for Sonic and Kyle LeBert for Ryu, stuff like that's just really appreciated, and I like that a lot. But
I will say that I think the choice of Wreck-It Ralph is kind of cheating.
It's a video game centric-ish movie.
It's about video games.
It is about,
but not a
video
specific
games.
video game.
Not a specific video game. But
I mean, Wreck-It Ralph. The Wreck-It Ralph is the video game. It may be fictitious, but
no, actually, no.
Wreck-It
Ralph is not a video.
Actually, about Sugar Rush.
Yeah, well, yeah, the movie's about Sugar Rush, and the game in the movie is not called Wreck-It Ralph. It's called Fix It Felix Jr.
Fix It Felix, yep.
Which is still one of the weirdest pairings, but we will get into that. So we've all kind of sat down prior to the podcast, and we've kind of picked out a few movies, just to kind of go around and talk about. Now, just kind of a warning. We can't really talk about every video game movie because there was more than I even thought there were going to be when I pulled up the raw list of how many game movies are. There's a lot. Like, I didn't even know there was like a House of the Dead movie until like 2 days ago.
You were better off not knowing about that.
It's really funny because the list of all the video game movies also has the Rotten Tomato score next to it. And there's a lot of single digits on that list, let me tell you.
God, someday we should do a watch together for Dead or Alive.
Oh no. I don't know I don't know if I could deal with that. So we're gonna start with some of the older movies and kind of work our way towards some of the newer ones. So Cass, I'll go ahead and let you go first. What do you have for us in terms of these old school video game movies?
Well, I guess I'll talk about my favorite one, Street Fighter.
Why is it your favorite?
Raul Julia.
That's a good choice.
Raul Julia. However you pronounce that, I apologize. He was a great man and a great actor, and as a gift to his children, he decided to take the role of M. Bison in that movie. And he pretty much makes the whole thing, because most of the other characters are basically inconsequential, except for Jean-Claude Van Damme as Guile, who, bless him, doesn't sound very American.
He tried.
The movie's plot doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. It's basically like, I guess, kind of a joint operation between Interpol and just like these vague American police trying to infiltrate Shadowloo, which has become a country. The plot's a little bit weird. Bison's printing his own money, and he's trying to take over the world. Yeah, like pretty much all the characters that you know and love are represented by caricature in this movie.
Like,
so, for example, Dalzim is a doctor for some reason. Charlie becomes Blanca. Sorry about the spoilers, but this is like a movie from like 1994, I think. Yeah,
I think that's actually kind of a fair warning. We're probably going to spoil these movies quite a bit.
In most cases, you're better off not watching them anyway. So it's okay.
We're just saving you time.
Honestly, if you want to watch another movie from 1994, I'm assuming that's the year this came out. I'm not actually going to look this up. Watch The Lion King instead.
Yeah, that's fair.
But no, the movie's actually very fun, especially if you've got alcohol.
Yeah. Honestly, a lot of these are.
Zangief is a great character in this movie because they make him as dumb as one is allowed to get in a movie.
Oh god, I've got to go back and rewatch this movie. It's been so many years since I've seen it. And
Raul Julia says every line with a grandiosity that the movie does not deserve.
Yeah.
This is one I watched, and I probably watched it when I was like 10 years old or something like that. I have it on VHS of all things.
Oh wow.
Now, but it's been I'm in the same boat. It's like I vaguely remember this movie, and I what I do remember of it, I remember fondly. So whatever. Probably my favorite thing about this movie is the fact that they made Street Fighter the movie the game.
Yeah.
Just completing the meta circle here.
I love that you can unlock Akuma in that game, who is not in the movie.
Of course not.
Yeah. Yeah, they use all the motion capture technology that you would see in something like Mortal Kombat 2, and it just looks so weird. So weird.
If I remember correctly, the people that made that game went on to make like actual good games, so good on them.
Yeah, that's awesome. We do appreciate.
But yeah, no, like I like that movie a lot just because it's ridiculous. It's definitely not a good movie, but of the classic ones, it's probably the one that I could enjoy the most rewatching.
Yeah. I think a watch party may be in the future at some point.
Yeah, that's a good choice for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Daryl, I know you bought a certain movie just for this, and I felt kind of bad because you actually spent money on it. But I imagine you would like to talk about it. Tell us, what have you been watching?
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, so I actually... like, it gets worse than what you just said, though. I did spend money on a collection of movies.
Oh.
It's one of those, like, really cheap, like, family collection things. So when you asked me to come on for this topic, you inadvertently caused me to buy a DVD case with Bill Cosby on the cover.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I want to make that clear. But no, I ended up watching The Wizard. And it was the first time I've actually seen The Wizard. Just for whatever reason, despite it being very in my wheelhouse as a kid, I'd never gotten around to actually seeing it. And you know what? It's not bad. Like, I did not hate watching it. It does some strange things for sure over the course of the movie. Some things that make you a little uncomfortable. I don't think that it handles things like mental disabilities very nicely.
No.
Nope.
But it tries to tell a nice story, and it almost gets there. And it does so kind of centered around the Nintendo Entertainment System at a time where you have multiple shots of them playing like the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. Including the bomb level underwater, which I thought was hilarious. And what I kept appreciating in the movie is they had all these shots where like somebody would be playing the NES and it'd be set up and you couldn't quite see the TV, but you would hear the game sounds and you're like, oh, that's Zelda 2. And then it would pan around to the TV and show Zelda 2. I'm like, sweet, perfect. Like that is what I like. It's not like generic video game. It was actually they were using actual footage because Nintendo, was kind of on board with this, and it basically served as ultimately a giant commercial / reveal for Super Mario Brothers 3 in like the most climactic video game tournament I have ever seen in my life. And watching it was just fun. Like, you just kind of wanted to be there. There's some of the subplots in this movie I am not on board with at all. But the overall time, I actually thought it was more entertaining than I thought going into it. So that was a real positive.
Yeah.
Doesn't that final scene also take place at like Universal Studios California or Hollywood
Probably.
rather? Because I seem to remember like the Jaws puppet being there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right. I'm pretty sure it was at Universal Studios, if I recall
correctly. Got a lot
correctly.
of California in that movie.
The tournament itself was, so they're like running through the King Kong ride to try to get back to the tournament venue, which is just funny.
Confrontation.
Yeah.
Side note, that was a really good ride.
Movie memories.
It was a really good ride. What I kind of like about The Wizard is like granted, the actual actor who played this kid, what's his name, Johnny, the bad guy kid, the Power Glove It's So Bad kid, like, he actually kind of grew up to be a horrible person, but he's just such a generic 90s bad boy kid. And, like, you could absolutely convince me, like, in my headcanon, that this kid grew up to be Billy in Stranger Things. Because...
Oh, I could see that.
Yeah, right? Right? And also, shoutouts to Tobey Maguire having a mullet in this movie for, like, 10 seconds.
I forgot Tobey Maguire was in this movie.
I think this may have been his film debut.
I literally just watched this movie and I didn't notice Tobey Maguire, and now I'm all upset about that.
He's like 10 years old, and he's got a mullet. And I don't think he even has any dialogue either, but yeah, that's just kind of a fun fact about it. But yeah, like, I did kind of like how they took the, like, almost like the Nintendo World Championship kind of approach to it. This big grandiose event, and, the big reveal of Super Mario Brothers 3.
It certainly got me excited.
Oh, yeah. And what makes me laugh though is like the fact that like Mario 3 had been out for like a year in Japan already.
Mm-hmm.
So
it was to get Americans ready for it.
Yes, absolutely to get Americans ready.
See, our minds would have been blown if we had actually gotten Mario 3 without the commercial first.
Mm-hmm. It really would have.
They had to ease us into it.
Yeah.
Ease us in with a side of Fred Savage. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know, the spoonful of sugar that makes the medicine go down.
So anyway, so speaking of Mario, I kind of want to talk about the Super Mario Brothers movie. This
Are you sure?
movie is a trip. Oh my god. I haven't had a chance to sit down and rewatch the whole movie, but I've probably watched about like 2/3 of it in the past few days, and I had forgotten. I don't know if I just mentally blocked it out or what, just how bizarre this movie is. Like, and how very loosely based on Super Mario Brothers it actually is. And Cass also recommended me a video by Matt McMuscles kind of detailing what happened to that movie, and I would highly recommend...
That's the name of the series.
Yeah, what happened? Go watch that video. It is fascinating. But this movie, I kind of love it. But I could never ever recommend it to a soul.
Well, that's a good thing because the movie's not available for streaming, I think, anywhere.
No, yeah, I've been relying on YouTube to rewatch the clips that I've been able to watch.
Yeah, so you know what to do if you want to find it.
Again, we don't advocate piracy on this show, just to make that clear.
Oh yeah, I was totally implying that they go buy it on Amazon.com, where they can buy a lot of other things too.
So just kind of a few things about this movie. I love Bob Hopkins and John Leguizamo as Mario and Luigi. This movie it came out in 1993, so it came out when I was like 3 years old. You know, dating me just a bit. It had Princess Daisy in it, which was an interesting pick. It had Yoshi just as a violent-looking Jurassic Park-style Velociraptor.
A very expensive animatronic.
Yes, and
as he should be.
As he should be, and he actually tried to eat somebody in the movie. You've got Higgy and Spike, which is weird, and probably the most disturbing depiction of Goombas I have ever seen. And of course, we can't forget Dennis Hopper as President Koopa, not King Koopa. President Koopa.
What were the names of the Goombas again? Bulk and Skull.
There was Iggy and Spike.
Oh right.
Yeah, as the Koopalings.
They're basically Bulk and Skull.
Yeah, they're basically Bulk and Skull, except they get turned into geniuses later in the movie thanks to the Evolve machine.
I am sure that there was an episode of Power Rangers where that probably happened to them for a little while.
Yeah, probably. I mean, there's probably also an episode of Power Rangers where, like, the king of the Mushroom Kingdom gets turned into, like, a giant snot booger. And it's so... These visuals are just out there. Yeah, Cass, what do you think about this movie?
It kind of does a really good cyberpunk dystopia with dinosaurs. It's so strange. And another thing that's strange is how they just like have these characters in the movie that are named after like enemies from the games, but they have no connection to them whatsoever. Like there's a larger woman in the movie, and her name is, I think, Big Bertha, named after the fish.
That is correct.
She's just named after the fish. Like, she's got no connection to the fish. She's just named after the fish.
Well, she's dressed in red, and her dress cups are, I think, spiked, if I recall correctly. They just have these very big, gruesome spots. Yeah.
I thought these were supposed to be evolved dinosaurs.
Yeah, it's...
Check in, mate.
Oh.
I think you're looking for logic where none really exists.
No.
Is the
no,
thing.
I'm not really. Like, I honestly like a lot of these weird choices, but I'm also the kind of person who just likes when they name drop things in these sorts of movies, even if it makes no sense whatsoever.
Like, hey,
it's
yeah,
like
they
had a contractual obligation to remind people that this was Mario.
Just like in reading about this, because of course, you know, I read about this movie a little bit. It went through like multiple rewrites of the entire script and multiple like complete thematic changes and such, and this is what they landed on.
Yeah.
And I would have loved to like hear how this was pitched.
It was originally pitched as a fantasy movie, from my understanding, from what the What Happened video was talking about, and like, I mean, they even almost got Tom Hanks to play Mario, which is, could you imagine the world we would be living in right now if Tom Hanks played Mario?
Could you imagine him doing that instead of Forrest Gump?
Right?
and the punchline is like, this was not a cheap movie at all.
No.
Like, they shelled out for this, like, no pun intended, but like, jeez.
It's why Nintendo never allowed another one of their properties to have a movie ever again afterwards, until Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, oh wow, yeah, that is that recent. Oh my goodness.
And I guess the Minions people are making a new Mario movie.
Yeah, they are, and I dread that, because I don't think it's going to be nearly as fun as what we got in 1993.
Can we have the Toads be the new Minions?
I mean...
You know, you might have... You might have just sold me on the movie. Like, this entire time I've been thinking Minions Mario sounds awful, but that comparison, you may have just sold me on it.
Nintendo should pay me.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, as long as like they can replace the Minions ride at Universal with just Toad ride, I'd be very happy with that.
It's that photoshopped image of Toad wearing a diaper.
Oh no,
that's what the ride will be.
Oh no, I think like probably my favorite thing to come out of this movie was probably just the unanimous acceptance of Mario and Luigi Mario being their full names in just every continuity. Everybody just accepted that without hesitation.
Didn't the Super Mario Brothers Super Show come up with that first?
I actually don't know. Did it?
I thought it did, but I might be wrong. Also, don't rewatch that show either. It's not good. Well, okay, you do definitely want to see the Captain Lou Albano parts.
Yes, please do.
All the live action stuff is great.
If you get a hankering to watch like an old video game show, start with like either Captain N or the old Mega Man cartoon, and you can't go wrong.
Yeah, or I guess Nick Arcade.
Oh geez.
Sure.
It's funny because like the one video game show that my kids have watched to completion multiple times was Ruby Spears Mega Man. They love that show.
It's kind of amazing, actually.
Oh, I still jam out to the theme song on a regular basis.
I watched it every day after school.
Yep. All right, so Daryl, I think I'm going to pass it back to you. What else have you got for us tonight?
So, I mean, I mentioned it briefly. I do want to talk a little bit about The Last Starfighter, because The Last Starfighter, like, to be clear, it came out in 1984. So, wow. I mean, it came out, like, as video games were, like, crashing. So,
timing. And
I actually did, so I have a Blu-ray of The Last Starfighter because, I don't know, reasons. And my wife and I rewatched it a few days ago, and you know, again, like, not a great movie, but also not a bad one. You can certainly find worse ways to spend your time. It's notable for being a movie from 1984 that all of the action sequences are full CGI.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they look like I don't even like. I can't even really equate this to anything. They look like CGI from 1984. It's really bad.
I'm just imagining like the all the special effects just look like the first Star Fox game.
Yes. Well, it's not like pixely. It's that like weird plasticky computer look.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So imagine like if Star Wars would had no practical effects. That's kind of what The Last Starfighter is.
Oh, no.
Which is funny, but what I like, I've always liked this game, and it's always, or this movie, I should say, it's always been like that gamer's dream of, oh man, I've been preparing for this, and this video game was a recruitment for me to go join the Star League and fight the evil emperor out in space and such. And you know, it's like as a kid that really hit with me. As an adult, you know, got to be honest, still kind of hits. Yeah. So
nothing wrong with that.
Got to be better than real life, right?
I mean, I sure hope so. But I will say, like, it is very much a cheap Star Wars knockoff with really bad CGI that's worth the watch and some really funny alien costume designs and such.
The main alien has some great prosthetics, though.
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, it's really not bad. Like, you could tell an effort was made here. It's not a terrible movie, and it's actually rather entertaining now. Some of the voice deliveries are really funny and such. Like, you've got a few like a what type moments. I don't know. I still kind of like it. It's still pretty high on my list, I gotta say.
Yeah, I think that's going to be kind of a running theme with a lot of these movies. Is like, even though we can sit here and acknowledge, like, oh, is this an objectively good movie? No, but like, there's a lot of sentimental value to a lot of these movies. Like, I know I've got a lot of connection to a lot of them just because I'm like, I don't really get to see my favorite games represented in another medium a whole lot, and you know that in itself is just kind of cool to see, you know. But
I definitely agree. Hopefully we'll get into a little bit about exactly like why video games don't necessarily pop a little bit later on. Because I do have some thoughts on it, but it is inherently cool to see, you know, quote unquote video games on the big screen. It's neat. I don't know. It will always be neat.
So, Cass, what else have you brought to the gathering today?
Are we still going with older movies?
We can kind of stretch it to, like, I guess 2000s-ish now.
Well, okay, I'm going to bring up one that you were probably going to pick, Cody. Sorry, not sorry. We're going to talk about the Resident Evil movies.
Well, I actually brought one specific Resident Evil movie. So I'll probably talk about my specific one at length, maybe, depending on what happens.
Well, mine is the first Resident Evil movie.
That one is weird.
It's very weird. I don't think it's good, but I think it's...
We should just preface every single movie we don't really think is good.
You're right. This is going to come up a lot, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's got elements to it that could make a decent movie if we're in more competent hands.
Mm-hmm.
Full stop, I don't think Paul W.S. Anderson's all that great at what he does.
No.
And it could be because his wife is the main character in all the movies.
Yeah.
And this extends to Monster Hunter, which I also watched recently.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear your thoughts on that.
I'm going to say, like, firsthand that Resident Evil's more exciting than Monster Hunter was for the majority of it, though.
Wow.
There are some really, really good makeup effects in Resident Evil and some really cool practical effects, too. I remember way back when I originally saw it on DVD, I looked at the special features, and they had, like, this rig that they made for the liquor that they've got in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really expensive and complicated looking, and it looks awesome in the movie. Also, the movie has that dumb laser grid scene that shows up later in Resident Evil 4.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, this movie actually influenced the games in quite a number of ways from Resident Evil 4 onward. You know, from the laser grid scene, and I think the Red Queen ended up showing Umbrella Chronicles, I think.
Yeah. I'm not going to talk about the main character because there's nothing really to her aside from the fact that I guess she's also like a clone/science experiment.
Yeah.
And she just becomes like more important in the plot, like in the rest of the movies.
Yeah.
But the first one also has some fun stuff with like these commercials for Umbrella that are strewn about it. that just get more and more sinister as they go along, and I like to think that's how it is in the games too.
Yeah.
Like, Umbrella just cannot hide that they're actually an evil corporation instead of just, the ones that are secretly evil.
Yeah, it's like they're really excited to show off the new BOWs that they had developed. It's like...
Yeah, well, and they start, like, talking about these cosmetics that they've got that sound suspiciously a lot like the cosmetics from the first Batman movie.
Oh, jeez.
But, made with stem cells or something.
Yeah. Like, reading about the development of this movie, where it started off with, where George Romero was actually writing the...
Oh god, if only.
Yeah, and he was actually going to stay pretty faithful to the game, and it was gonna star Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine as the leads, and they were gonna be like in a romantic relationship, which I thought was kind of weird because everyone knows Chris is gay. But yeah, it was also gonna have like Barry Burton, Ada Wong, and Albert Wesker like all in the movie, and but it was going to stick very close to the source material. Oh yeah, and Rebecca Chambers as well. And supposedly that was going to be the only time that we would have seen like the closest thing to the canon ending of the first Resident Evil. Because Daryl, I know you're not really super familiar with Resident Evil, especially like the earlier games, right?
I mean, I've just 100%ed them all. It's no big deal.
Oh, you know.
I'm totally kidding. I haven't played one.
Okay, cool.
The first Resident Evil game I played was actually 4.
That was my first one too. That's a good game.
Yeah.
But I mean, so long story short, you like in the first Resident Evil game, and even in its remake, you cannot get the canon ending. The canon ending does not exist in that game, where the certain combination of survivors make it out of the mansion. And this draft was going to be like one of the only times you ever saw those people actually all make it out of the mansion, which was kind of fascinating.
Actually sounds like a movie that I would enjoy watching.
Yeah.
Also, you can forget about the mansion for the movie, though, because it barely features.
Yeah.
And it's not really the Spencer mansion, it's just a mansion.
Yeah. The first Resident Evil movie has almost nothing to do with the first Resident Evil game. From what we got. I'm just talking about what George Romero was going to give us.
Yeah. It's got a cool scene where a guy gets killed by an elevator. I remember that.
So, so the movie that I was actually going to talk about is I was going to talk about the second movie, which is Resident Evil Apocalypse, which I think is broken record, not very good.
It's not a good movie, but
but I think this one actually adhered closest to the games because it's actually really loosely based on Resident Evil 3. And I think this was the first time that the cast of the games came into the movie with Jill Valentine, Carlos, and who was the third one? And Nemesis. How could I forget Nemesis? Oh my god.
He looks so goofy in that movie.
He looks so goofy, and he's like 5'9" in this movie. And if anyone's ever seen Nemesis, he's like 10 feet tall.
Yeah, no, this version of Nemesis is Cody with a rubber mask on.
It really is. I am not a tall man, and I could probably like look down on this Nemesis. It's great. But no, so this one, kind of details the end of Raccoon City. And it basically follows the main character from the first movie, Alice, teaming up with one of the main characters of the game, Jill Valentine, and going and finding this little girl in the city and getting her out. And this was the first time. And this one actually was not directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. This one was directed by Alexander Witt. And there was another guy who actually directed the third movie as well. And then Paul came back and finished off like the last 3 movies. But yeah, this one sticks the closest to the source material, I think. But that's not a high bar to set. Because,
the famously good plot lines of Resident Evil.
Yes, the very serious plot lines of Resident Evil. But it was kind of cool to see these characters up on the screen. Even the Nemesis in his goofy Power Ranger suit. I'm like, it's kind of cool to see. It was nice that they actually gave Jill her Resident Evil 3 outfit. And I was reading an interview where they were talking about it, and they're just like, yeah, we tried to like really come up with a reason why Jill would be wearing like a tube top and a miniskirt during a zombie apocalypse. And then we just decided not to address it because if the people watching this movie were asking the questions about where this girl got her wardrobe, they probably shouldn't be watching Resident Evil movies in the first place. And I'm like...
Great point.
Respect.
But yeah, it's a good decision. And it's just kind of fun to watch, and it's really fun to try and watch them try and puzzle piece their the references to the first game into this game, because Daryl, since you don't know, like Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 take place at the same time in the games, and 3 actually stars a protagonist from the first game. So naturally, that one's going to have more connections to the first game, and they'll reference those events. One of which is the STARS units, the Special Tactics and Rescue Squadron of the Raccoon Police Department. Since they escaped the mansion in the first game, they send Nemesis into Raccoon City to hunt them down, and he just repeatedly says STARS. That's all he ever says. So, the STARS aren't really a thing in this movie. Except for one scene where you're just told that these are STARS members. They're, like, hanging out at a drugstore, like, shooting zombies for fun. And this is Nemesis's big reveal, too, where they have him come in, say his thing, and then shoot them with a rocket launcher. And the rest of the movie, he just chases Alice, who has no connection to the STARS. And I was just like, wow, y'all really, really worked hard to fit that in there. But it's also, like, it started a kind of a trend where they, like, vaguely reference the games. Like the whole Wesker and Redfield's fight at the end of one of the movies, I don't know. And the, like, mind-controlled Jill and all. It's... The series after this one just goes way off the rails, where it's not even in the same universe anymore.
They do go kind of wild after this one.
Yeah. Yeah, they kind of do.
I believe there's a talking zombie in the third one.
I couldn't even tell you. So I think we're about at the halfway point. We're starting to get more up to some modern stuff. So I just want to pose this question to you two real quick. What do you think would make a good video game movie? Like, what elements do you think it would have? And Daryl, I think I'm going to throw it to you first. It's a hard question, I'm sure.
Okay, so I can't inherently talk about this without talking about what bugs me about video game movies, and that is when a movie tries too hard to reach its source material. Like, so I recently watched, and I know you both did too, watched the Mortal Kombat movie, the new one. And like they tried so hard to throw in like quotes and of course it's there's like I don't want to spoil it, but there's like classic Mortal Kombat quotes and music and theming and stuff, and it's almost like you're trying too hard. But there's one series that, if anything ever deserved a video game movie, this series is it. And if they did, fine, go nuts. Every quote, everything, just do it perfectly, and that is Star Fox.
Oh my god.
Like, a Star Fox movie, you really could not mess up a Star Fox movie. I really don't think you could. As long as you just had it be stupid. I think it would have been great.
Oh, absolutely.
I am on board.
And it makes me so sad because there was like I don't know exactly how confirmed this is, but I think it was pretty well confirmed. There was like a plan for a Star Fox Netflix show that was like a claymation type thing, and
I heard about.
Oh my god, that would have been like I would have never watched anything ever again. So, rather than just go through structure, because I don't think it's like it's hard to do a proper video game movie, but I think start with a silly video game and do a movie about that, and you'll probably end up in a good favor with me.
Yeah, I think it is very appropriate, by the way, that you have Fox McCloud as your Discord icon right now.
Absolutely.
They did make those puppets for that E3 announcement for Star Fox Zero.
Yeah.
Those would make good puppets for a movie or a TV show, I think.
They really
have
would.
it be in the style of the Muppets or whatever.
Those things are incredible too.
Heck, if it's a show about like flying around, it could be like that old show Thunderbirds.
Oh wow!
They also did. There was like a 14-minute fully animated like trailer thing ahead of Star Fox Zero. Like it was like a cartoon, and that was incredible too.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
What is the name of it? Yeah, because I just watched it the other day, and I had a really good time watching it.
It's so good.
Yeah, give me a series in that style. But yeah, Star Fox is I would be on board with that. Cass, what do you think what makes a good video game movie, or at least an enjoyable one?
So it's kind of difficult, right? Like video games are a little bit harder to adapt than a lot of other material.
Right.
Maybe not like newer ones so much as the older ones, but I think it's partially because there's not a whole lot to draw from that makes a compelling plot for a movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you could make a movie, but that's how you get these meandering or excuse plots that we had in the old video game movies. Or heck, even Mortal Kombat, which basically has an excuse plot.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like you got to keep it simple, or it's got to be something that was basically tailor-made to be a movie to begin with. Like what they're doing with the, I think it's the HBO show for The Last of Us.
Yeah.
That was probably more meant to be a prestige show anyway.
Yeah.
That being said, I think, if I were going to make a video game movie, it would be for Hades.
Oh, that would be pretty good.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, yeah, hold off on that, though, because I do have a question at the end of the show that Daryl had suggested, which we're going to get into that.
Okay.
Yeah. So hold that thought. But yeah, games are very hard to adapt because the joy of video games is the interactivity. And, how can you interact with this world? How can you play the role of these characters and everything? And converting that into a watchable format it's very difficult, especially, with older games that didn't really have a whole lot of plot. But I think they're really getting into the point now where they're kind of figuring out how to make the video game medium something more appealing to the mainstream, even with games with older, the older games that have very simple plots. With case in point being the Castlevania TV show, which started life as a movie. And Castlevania, the show, the Netflix show, is based on the third Castlevania game, and it is phenomenal. It is so very good. But it's really hard to hit that sweet spot because you've got to carry the spirit of the game. And I think if you kind of nail the spirit of the game and throw in references here and there to the game mechanics and stuff like that, then I think that it ends up being okay.
And I think another kind of a hitching point that I see with some video game movies is when they go to the source material and you think, hey, this video game done as a movie, that sounds great, right? And then you go to the source material and you realize that the characters in the video game kind of suck.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So from time to time somebody will mention, hey, there should be a Zelda movie. Imagine Link. Nobody will ever get Link correct, because how could you get Link correct? If he says a word, it's wrong. Or if he, maybe it's right, but you don't want a silent protagonist in the movie. So you get this strange back and forth where the mediums are so different in the way that they want people to experience them. Movies are telling people, video games are kind of showing people in theory. So you've got to start with a game series that has some relatable characters that are actually fully defined. Something like The Last of Us is perfect for it because the game is kind of a movie already.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But when we've been hearing the rumors of a Mario movie for forever, I'm still cringing about that, because how do you do a successful Mario movie? And I hope they do, but it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
we'll get to hear Bowser talk again.
Okay, sold. Fair enough.
They need to get his sunshine voice back.
Yeah. Hey, son.
Yeah, they're just gonna adapt the plot of Sunshine.
I think,
you know what? I would watch that.
I think what would make me happier than anything else in that movie is just anytime that Mario and Luigi spoke, it's just the gibberish from the Mario and Luigi games.
Ooh, or their voices from the Super Show.
Oh god.
Like, even
That's
Sonic.
Baba Luigi to you, Mario.
Oh no.
Wow. Even Sonic adapts better than that because Sonic actually has a defined character. He's been voiced. He's been, you know, everybody listening to this knows what Sonic sounds like without me telling you.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's way past cool.
Yeah.
Mario sounds like woohoo, and that's it.
Yep.
That's all you got.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Even Wario has more of a personality.
Yeah.
Dude, I would actually be like more excited for a Wario and Waluigi movie than a Mario and Luigi movie.
Ooh, or a WarioWare movie where he has to
That'd
get
be great.
funding for his own game studio.
Okay, done.
We've gotten to the pitching thing.
Yeah.
Let's skip that for now.
Oh, jeez. All right, so actually, speaking of Sonic, let's talk about the Sonic movie real quick because I don't know about you two, but this was actually the last movie that I saw in theaters.
Yeah.
Before
aside from a drive-in theater, yeah.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I've seen a couple things in drive-ins, but yeah, last time being in a movie theater was watching Sonic the Hedgehog. And Daryl and Cass, I know you can actually both relate to this. Can you hear Sonic in that movie without thinking of Dewey Duck?
No,
not
at all.
Yeah. So, so this was actually one of the more like consistently good, surprisingly, video game movies that I have seen, and I don't know, like this is probably the only one that I wouldn't say is a actual bad movie. Because you've got a lot of like really nice talent behind it. I did like Ben Schwartz's Sonic and Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik. I don't know that you could pick a better live action Eggman.
And it's probably the best thing that Jim Carrey's done in years.
Yeah, oh, by a lot. And
yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, and it's one of the first video game movies that's like, out of all the ones that we've talked about to get a like sequel confirmed outside of the few outliers like Resident Evil and the first Mortal Kombat movie. But I feel like, this and Detective Pikachu like really started to hit that sweet spot to make a good movie based on a game.
You could make a very solid argument, and I probably would make this argument, that Sonic the Hedgehog is the best game movie based on a singular video game.
Yeah.
Detective Pikachu is great, and I know Detective Pikachu is a series of games, but that was always kind of like created to be kind of a hand-in-hand like multimedia thing. Mm-hmm. Like Detective Pikachu really isn't like it is, but it's not really like a Pokemon the movie type thing.
Yeah.
Sonic the Hedgehog is literally Sonic the Hedgehog, and they explained like the warp rings, and they explained like dimension hopping and such that actually kind of shows up in the games, and I'm like, wow. Like,
yeah. I like.
Well done.
Yeah, I like that the warp rings were just like the rings at the end of the levels in Sonic 1 that take you to the Chaos Emerald Zone. I agree with you. You absolutely could make an argument that this is the best adaptation because it's faithful to all the characters. It brings in some new elements, like bringing Sonic into the real world. But also like that sequence at the beginning of the movie where they actually use the Sonic Mania music and it fit really well. Showing Sonic, the Mobius area. It was really cool. And
I gotta say that I love seeing those echidnas. I
did too. I'm so excited for the sequel because Knuckles. I can't wait. This was a good one. It kind of piggyback off of Sonic, the other more modern video game movie, which we did talk about a little bit just a minute ago. Detective Pikachu. That one's not as good to me on rewatches.
Really?
Yeah. I found it like it's cool. It's really cool seeing all these Pokemon like in live action, for the first time. And yeah, and I do kind of agree with you. Like that's why I didn't really include stuff like Pokemon the first movie, in this these kind of lists because it's not really based on the games. You know what I'm saying? Like Pokemon has kind of gone past that. You know, it still even feels a little bit like cheating to include Pokemon in this one. But yeah, after the kind of shininess of seeing all these live action Pokemon, I don't know. It just doesn't hit. Like Ryan Reynolds just doesn't have the charm that I would really want, you know, out of a role like this and to really carry the movie. And I mean, I didn't even mind a lot of these characters. It's just everything just seems kind of plain after you get past the surface level of just it being a Pokemon movie. It's animated really well, and a lot of the Pokemon, like the visual design, looks great. But I don't know, just something about it just doesn't click like something like Sonic does.
Yeah, I gotta say that when I saw it, I almost fell asleep in the theater. And I'm a huge Pokemon person, so take that for what you will. Yeah. But I mean, the parts that I was awake for were great.
That's like the most backhanded compliment I have ever heard you give a movie.
7 out of 10 because I missed 3 out of 10 of it.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you excise the ending from the movie, it's pretty good.
Yeah, some of that stuff got weird. Got real weird really quick, where they're just putting everybody in Pokemon and.
Well, no, I mean that does answer the question that people always had about Ditto. And yeah, the answer is terrifying.
Oh god, it's still a question that no one ever needed answering, but here comes Legendary to save the day.
Well, you know what it implies for the rest of the universe.
Oh, I know. I've had conversations about this like at length with other people that I do not care to repeat here.
The dark web is even scarier in the Pokemon universe.
Daryl, did you catch this one?
Detective Pikachu? Yeah. Actually, like, I'm not a huge Pokemon guy.
Yep.
I famously have bashed it for hours in other podcast formats. But like, I actually really liked this movie on first watch. I am completely with you that it's just like it's like a really hazy layer of vanilla away from a great movie. Like, it's a little too safe and it's a little like not funny or clever enough. But that said, I mean, it's a very watchable movie, and it's one that I actually really enjoyed. Something I didn't expect to enjoy is like all of the background Pokemon in all of the scenes move like perfectly.
Yeah.
Like just like every time Growlithe is on screen, I'm like, oh man, it's Growlithe, that's great. And it's
the ecology of the world works really well.
It does.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of care put into that, and I love that. And overall, we ended up getting the movie after seeing it, I think, in the theaters. And you know, I don't regret that. I would watch it again.
Yeah, I think I bought it for like $4 from a Redbox, just because my kids wanted to watch it because my kids love Pokemon. And
perfect movie to bring your kids for, or have them watch it over and over again.
But so when I bought them Detective Pikachu, they watched it once. When I got Sonic the Hedgehog, they played it on repeat. Take that as you will. Sense. Yeah, take that as you will. My kids love Sonic.
Well, see, they inherited that genetically.
Yes, that is very genetic. Oh my goodness. So real quick, just any other movies you guys want to bring up? Daryl, you got anything else you want to talk about real quick?
Well, I completely missed talking about the person that I want to like throw out and nominate as the king of video game movies, which would be, of course, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, in playing the parts in both Doom, well, all three, Doom and Rampage, and now the new Jumanji, which is video games now.
That's right.
Yeah, that is right. Oh lord.
So like 3 different video game characters. I just kind of love that. The only thing I'll say about that is the original, like the Doom movie, not a good movie at all. Not at all. However, there is like one segment late in the movie where it switches perspective into kind of the first person view, and that is so freaking faithful to the video games that I can't help but just like smile that entire scene. So take it as you will. I like that movie. Whatever. The other one I want to bring up and actually talk like a little bit about is a little bit newer. Actually, a lot newer. Ready Player One, I think, is actually kind of a great movie. It's not a specific video game, but it's one of those where it's like a bajillion 80s references from video games and movies, and all the characters are in a massive video game. It's based on a book by Ernest Cline. I do think that the transition to a movie actually helped it. The magic of Steven Spielberg, as it were. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed this movie, and I will always want to watch this movie. So, like, yeah, it's among my favorites by far. If it's not quite cheating about video game movies, kind of is.
It's game adjacent. I haven't seen Ready Player One, but I have seen the scene with Mechagodzilla in it, and I did like seeing Mechagodzilla fight a Gundam. So I'll take that as it is. I don't know if I'm ever going to sit down and watch it, just because like I don't watch a whole lot of movies, but it's one that I've kind of eyeballed.
I will say that I don't like that movie, but I do like Chucky getting a lot of screen time in that movie comparatively. Like,
for sure,
from Child's Play Chucky.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh man,
it's one of those like there's too much stuff in it. Really, ultimately, but I don't know. I still like. It's just kind of a fun time. I actually enjoyed the books, the first book. I haven't read the second one yet. I don't know. It's one of those just like there's so much stuff going on that I just kind of sit there like wide eyed, like, oh man, there's a battle toad. You know? Like,
it's kind of fun sitting down and like trying to pick out everything, and I think that's also part of the appeal of Detective Pikachu. Is like just.
Is that what we're going to be like with Space Jam 2?
Oh,
for sure.
I've already done that with the trailer. I have already done that with the trailer. Fun fact: did you know the guys from A Clockwork Orange are there?
Yeah. Everybody pointed that out.
Cass, is there any other movies you want to talk about real quick?
I mean, I guess I should probably point out that I watched the Monster Hunter movie over the weekend.
I want to hear about this.
Please talk about this.
Okay, so this movie, I consider it actually to be worse than a lot of the Resident Evil movies.
That's a tall order.
And that's purely because it's way more boring than all of them. There's not a whole lot that happens in the movie, even when there are monsters on the screen, and that's pretty bad. Like, I actually don't mind the weird isekai plot that the movie has, where Mila Jovovich's entire like army platoon gets sucked into a storm that brings them to the Monster Hunter world. It's very Land of the Lost, except everybody dies except for her.
Spoilers. Jeez.
Oh well. Like, if you've seen any of the trailers, you hardly even see any of those characters.
Yeah, I think I'll be okay.
But the best thing about the movie is that you get to see Rathalos destroying a lot of military stuff, and that's rad as heck.
That does sound like fun.
Yeah, and also there's a Palico in the movie, and you can't go wrong with those.
Yeah, Palicos are great. That reminds me, I need to download the update for Monster Hunter Rise. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's big.
Yeah. So, real quick before we go on to our final topic, I just want to do a quick roundtable of the new Mortal Kombat, which just came out. Just gonna give you listeners at home a warning. We're gonna dive a little bit into spoiler territory. At least I will.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so I'll start us off real quick. I thought this movie was boring. I thought it was really boring. I didn't think the fight choreography was very good, and I didn't feel like it was crazy enough to be Mortal Kombat. And I mean, I'm kind of saying this as a guy who doesn't really like Mortal Kombat from the get-go, and so like I don't really know the lore. I've heard it's somewhat respectful towards the lore, somewhat not. It's weird. but just like I can only think of a couple of things in this movie. I was just like, oh, cool, yeah, that's what I feel like Mortal Kombat is. I don't know. I thought some of the stuff with Scorpion and Sub-Zero was good, but outside of that, like the main dude that they got for the movie, Cole, is he even in Mortal Kombat?
Nope.
I've never.
No, he's an OC.
Okay, cool, fantastic. Yeah, I didn't have a great time, but that Bat Lady getting sawed in half is pretty cool.
I mean, you have a pretty good justification for an original character when you have a character this compelling and this good on screen. He just pops every scene he's in. I'm completely kidding. Like, it's like completely wasted, right?
I like that he's got literal plot armor.
That's a superpower. Actual plot armor.
You make everything better.
Okay, movie. All right, cool. Movie redeemed. 10 out of 10.
Well, I'm just gonna say that I really, really dig the Hanzo Hasashi parts of the movie, like the Scorpion and Bihan stuff that happens in there. I thought the first 10 minutes of the movie, if they had continued doing that, it would have been a great movie.
It's so disconnected from everything else.
Yeah, but that 10 minutes was really good.
It was, yeah, it was very good.
Just give me a weird samurai ninja movie like this, but with superpowers, and I'll be happy.
Yeah. I thought Maximilian actually made a really good point about all this. Like, he had suggested having the visions of that first 10 minutes sprinkled throughout the movie.
Yeah.
And then have Cole's Arcana at the end of the movie would be him getting possessed by the spirit of Hanzo. And,
just have him removed from the plot.
And have him be Scorpion.
That could have worked.
Yeah, like
the entire movie, I was sitting there expecting that to happen. It just never did.
Yeah,
so.
Isn't it a bummer?
Okay. Yeah, it totally is.
I also want to give a shout out to Kano. Kano was pretty great in that movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure he's got a hefty chiropractor bill after carrying that movie.
I thought it was really, really weird that they decided to use nobody characters like General Reiko and the Batwing lady. They're Z tier Mortal Kombat characters.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat is it's one of those fighting games. I think it's probably the second most mainstream fighting game after
I would probably argue that it's probably the first.
Yeah, as a pure original fighting game, yeah, Mortal Kombat's probably the most recognizable. And I kept watching the movie, and I like to think that because I watch Mortal Kombat tournaments. I know I've played some of the games, but I kept watching this movie, and I'm just like, who are these people?
It's even the little things, some of the characters actually looked like the characters from the games.
Yeah.
Then even Sub-Zero, great character, but why would you not put any blue on him at all or anything?
Right.
Well, kind of weird.
I think they were trying to allude to the fact that this Sub-Zero eventually becomes Noob Saibot.
Oh yeah, yeah, that does happen. I think in the games, doesn't it?
Yeah. Specifically that Sub-Zero. I also thought it was a weird choice to use reptiles, just pure reptile form.
Yeah.
Instead of having him be the cool green ninja.
Yeah.
I may be the only person who thinks he's cool, but
that's okay.
There are probably dozens of us.
Literal dozens.
Dozens!
I thought it was really, really strange how the whole movie Scorpion spoke in Japanese.
Well,
until
he doesn't
showed
know
up.
English.
It said, "Get over here."
Yeah. For the record, that's one of the ones I was referencing. It was just so awkward. Just all of it. Yes, of course it's Scorpion, and of course he says that, and of course I expected it the entire time, but I was dreading that moment the entire movie. I'm please just don't say it.
Or Kano saying flawless victory.
Yeah.
Kano wins.
Okay, I actually love that one, but
yeah, he looked so happy after he ripped out Reptile's heart, and like I didn't even catch it the first time that I watched the sequence, but like when what's her name, Sasha, Sonia, that's right. When Sonia was talking about how she didn't have a mark, like you could just barely hear it where he's making sad trombone noises, like in the background.
Oh, he very much carried a large part of that movie.
He's the jester that the movie needed because I mean the main character wasn't going to provide any drama.
I'd say outside of like the Sub-Zero Scorpion stuff, probably the best sequence of the movie was the dinner scene.
Yeah. Sure. When Liu Kang and Kung Lao decide to nag him until he gets a superpower.
Which totally worked out great for him, you know? Oh, goodness.
I liked Raiden's actor.
Yeah.
At least they finally got somebody who wasn't a white guy.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Making progress, finally.
Oh, and this movie is, like, trying to set itself up for, like, 1 million sequels.
I know.
Yeah. The guy who plays Sub-Zero signed on for like 4 movies already.
Really?
So like,
I
get
guess
ready.
he's going to be Noob Saibot in the rest of the movies.
Oh my lord!
Get ready.
All right, so here's my question for the sequels: who's playing Johnny Cage?
Well, I mean, there's the rumor that Ryan Reynolds will be doing it.
Oh God, please no.
I don't think like it. I feel like it just needs to be like the most out of place thing, like Leonardo DiCaprio or something.
Well, it depends on what kind of Johnny Cage we're going for here. If we're going for like OG Johnny Cage, then it probably needs to be somebody nobody's ever heard of before. But if we're going for like the seasoned actor Johnny Cage that's in Mortal Kombat 11, I would probably pick somebody like Nick Cage.
Oh my god,
oh, that would be great. That would actually be great.
Done. Cut the check.
Or, what's his name that played Negan in The Walking Dead?
Oh, my, Jeffrey Dean Morgan?
Yeah, Jeffrey Dean Morgan could make a pretty good Johnny Cage.
That's not bad.
I don't know, like, I kind of love that idea. Because, like, Jeffrey Dean Morgan in The Walking Dead was, like, the one thing that I could actually, like, watch that was on the screen whenever I actually watched that show.
I can't say I would recommend this, but I could see an argument for Tom Cruise here.
If they could afford him, for sure.
Yeah.
They definitely can't.
Yeah, they really can't. Oh my goodness. Alright, last question of the night, I think, before we wrap this up. If you could pitch any video game movie, what would you pitch? And Daryl, I'm going to let you go first. Since you brought this question to us, gotta give you the credit. I just assume you've got something amazing.
Well, I kind of blew it out already with Star Fox, but I've got something else. So I already mentioned this. A big problem I have with video game movies are the thought that they have to force things that you know from the video games into the movie, and some of those things just don't work. So I'm gonna pitch a Zelda movie. However, I don't want Link to be the main character. I want a Zelda movie focused in Hyrule, or with all original characters, where Link is kind of like a legendary character. Maybe he shows up from time to time, but he's not the main character. But kind of a, dirty life in Hyrule type show or movie. I would actually totally watch that, and I would kind of love it, because that world is amazing. But then you could actually be creative with your characters without anybody feeling like you're ruining the franchise.
Okay, so I kind of want to see that, with the caveat that there's got to be a Link cameo where he's just in the background of a scene picking up pots and smashing them on the ground.
Yep. I think that would, you would of course have that. He would just, run through the background of the scene rolling in the field.
You just look in the background of a scene, you see him bomb jumping and, levitating off into the sunset. And it's gotta be stuff that you only catch, if you're looking for it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Link and Zelda and the other characters, and Ganon and such, they should be characters in the overall story, and they should be in the show, at least as legends, but also making cameos here and there, but focus it on somebody else. And I think that'd be pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, I agree. Like even in the few times that the Zelda series like does have a different like main character, like for example, Age of Calamity. We talked a lot about this on the Nintendo Jump. Zelda's absolutely the main character of that game, and it works out great. Like it was actually like really nice to have a protagonist that was really involved in everything and had reactions to everything that was going on. And yeah, seeing a lot of that stuff from the perspective of just, people in Hyrule would be really cool. Because there's a lot of cool stuff in that world. And a lot of cool lore. And there's definitely a lot of stuff you could explore and a lot of creativity, creative decisions you could make with that. So, Cass, I'm gonna let you go, but I swear if you steal my idea this time, like you did with the Resident Evil movie, I'll be very, very cross with you. So,
it's Pistols at Dawn, Cody.
Okay.
Yeah, no, like, I threw out an idea earlier, but I'm going to go ahead and retract that one because I came up with a better one.
Good.
I want a Mass Effect movie, but not following Shepard. I want it to follow Garrus.
I like that a lot.
It could, and specifically, I'm thinking, like, the time between Mass Effect and Mass Effect 2, where he becomes the quote-unquote Archangel. It could just be a vigilante movie starring Garrus, like, on the Citadel, beating up thugs and doing kind of shady stuff in order to make something good happen down there.
Okay.
That's my pitch.
Okay. I'm not super... I haven't played through Mass Effect. It's just one of my big, gaming...
Well, next month, everybody can play through Mass Effect again with the Mass Effect Remastered trilogy.
Except for Switch users. Bum, bum, ba, bum.
Oh, no, that is absolutely something that I need to play at some point. So, all right.
Also, that was basically a shout out for my sister. She'll love that.
Yeah, good. Yeah, absolutely.
That's another series where the lore just carries that entire series, and if you pitch literally anything anywhere in that universe, fair, done. Sounds good.
All right, so I'm about to give you both my pitch, and it's going to blow your mind.
Oh God!
Are you ready?
It's the Shark Tank.
It is Mario Kart, directed in the style of Speed Racer by the Wachowskis.
Yeah. Okay. One and done. You got it.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Like very, very high energy animation. With John Goodman playing Mario.
Oh God! Oh God!
No, well, John Goodman would make a much better Bowser.
Okay. You know what? Yeah, I'll give you that one.
But I want him to have the energy that he had in Cloverfield Lane.
Oh my God!
Let's write this ship. Let's call Tom Hanks.
Let's do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Fix the original's mistakes. Let's go.
Oh, but yeah, just like all sorts of chaos, speeding through these tracks, throwing items all at one another. Give it a really silly plot that absolutely has to culminate in these tracks, and having Rainbow Road be the visual finale, during the climax. Yeah, let's do it.
Can we have Luigi being played by Mads Mikkelsen?
Oh my God! See, and this is the holy grail that we're never going to get. And now I want to go back and watch Speed Racer again.
But you started strong because Speed Racer is freaking great.
I like that movie a lot. I like that movie from the day it came out.
Yeah, same.
Because I worked at a movie theater at that point in time, and I would just watch it during break. It was a lot of fun.
It's secretly the most fun thing that the Wachowski sisters have done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my only other at first I was gonna pitch a Mega Man movie in the style of the CG Astro Boy movie, but then I'd
also be down with that.
I would also be down with that. That's another good movie. Fine. Yeah, but this I was like, oh wait, yeah.
You know what? Mega Man X would make a really good movie.
Oh yeah, they made that movie. It's called Blade Runner.
Hey. Blade Runner, shout out back to Super Mario Brothers, the movie.
Yeah. Harrison Ford as Mega Man X.
Oh my goodness. All right.
I found an origami penguin.
Oh my god. I've been watching Harrison Ford clips the past few days, just of him at his house, and he's just exactly how you think he would be. Like watching the clip where he, like a magician, like pulls his card out of an orange that's just laying on the table. You should go watch that clip if you haven't. It's pretty good. But yeah, so I think that's gonna be about all the time that we've got for the night. Daryl, man, thank you so much for coming on. It's really real joy talking to you about all this stuff. It's been a really good time. Where can people find you?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you asking me. This has been a lot of fun. Best place to find me, honestly, is on Twitter at DecoyDW. As I've kind of alluded to, I did a lot of episodes hosting the Nintendo Jump podcast. So I'm still in that Discord, and I will always be and such. But I'm around the internet. But find me on Twitter, and you'll find everything.
Yeah, fantastic. Cass, you can always find mine and Cass's Twitter links in the description below, or to the side, or above, or wherever they're putting descriptions these days. But yeah, absolutely. Nintendo Jump's that's a good group of people too. But yeah, so everyone, thank you so much for listening tonight. And if you have your own favorite video game movie, let us know. I'd love to hear it, because there's so many that we just weren't able to talk about, like the original Mortal Kombats, and so many, so many.
Especially if it's Double Dragon. I want to hear that that's your favorite movie.
Please send Cassidy lots of emails telling her how much you
DM me about Double Dragon.
Please DM Cass about Double Dragon. But all right, well, from myself and everyone here at Get Equipped, thank you guys so much, and I hope you all have a good night, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
See ya.